And velocity, on the other hand, is both magnitude and direction. Now, when you talk about velocity and acceleration, unahin muna natin pala yung concept ng displacement. Displacement is what we call the change in position. Change in. That means if a certain object changes position, one point to another, makukuha mo yung displacement natin, which is in meters. Meters, centimeters, or feet. Most likely, gagamit tayo ng SI system. Now, the equation for the displacement is equal to the final position minus the initial position of the object. Right? That means if an object is a negative displacement, that means the tendency of the object, kapag concerning lang natin is the x-axis, the tendency of the object is moving to the left. Right? Take note, we have a sign convention. When you talk about sign convention, any object that will be moving to the right is positive. Any object moving to the left will be negative. Okay? Objects moving upward will be positive, objects moving downward will be negative. Example, I have an initial position x sub 2, o x. Ibig sabihin, I'm only concerned with the x-axis. Sabihin natin, I started with the position 5 meters. Then the final position ko ay 10 meters. If you will be talking about the displacement or total distance traveled by the object, ang sagot dyan, 5. Positive 5. Ibig sabihin, the magnitude that you have is 5 meters. Positive, that means you're going to the right. Kapag i-drop kasi natin yan, with reference to the x-axis, which is 0 here, this is your initial position, 5 meters. Your final position will be here, which will be 10 meters. The total displacement mo is from the initial position to the final position. When you subtract it, it's positive. That means go to the right with a magnitude of 5 meters. So that's what we call displacement. On the other hand, when you talk about velocity, it will be the same. Kapag positive ang velocity natin, it's going to the right. Kapag negative, going to the left. Positive velocity on the y-axis means you're moving upward. Negative, you will be moving downward. Now take note, wala namang negative na distance at wala namang negative na velocity. Wala pa naman kayo narinig siguro ng gano'n na I am traveling negative 5 kilometers per hour. Walang gano'n. Okay, 5 kilometers per hour lang ang binibigay usually. On the displacement or on the sign convention for physics, you're looking at the sign as the symbol kung on what direction you are going. Okay? Kasi medyo awkward yung sinasabi lang natin going south, going left. Samantalang na-indicate na natin on which axis a certain vector or certain object is currently moving. I take note na velocity, positive will be going to the right, negative will be going to the left. Ay acceleration, on the other hand, hindi siya nagde-dictate or meron kayong tinatawag sa course outcome number 3 sa lecture, maintindihan niyo pa yun lalo. But for now, yung acceleration natin, hindi yan ibig sabihin na kapag positive, is simply going to the right. Negative, going to the left. Positive ang acceleration, and acceleration pertains to your change in velocity. Okay? The change in velocity. That means if an object is currently positive yung acceleration natin, ibig sabihin what happens to the object? The object is accelerating or the object is increasing its final velocity. Compared to its initial velocity, mas mabilis. Okay? When you talk about negative acceleration, it can also be called what? Kapag negative, it can also be called deceleration. An object is decelerating. It doesn't mean the object is moving to the left side, but that means the object or the final velocity of the object is less than its initial velocity. Okay? Sabihin, let's go to the concept. Delta x is equal to the final position minus the initial position. Like when you talk about velocity, tulad ng definition, you may check your handouts. The final velocity will always be the change in displacement. When you talk about dx over dt, dx means delta x, or the change in x over a certain period of time. So ano bang unit of measurement natin ng change in x? Meters. Change in time will be in seconds, so meter per second is equal to meter velocity. Acceleration will be equal to the change in velocity with respect to time. Okay. On physics, even on the lecture, meron tayong 3 basic kinematic equations. If you're familiar with this one, x sub f is equal to x sub o. That will be equal to the initial velocity times time plus 1/2 acceleration d squared. Take note, it's on your handouts. Meron ka pa rin final velocity squared is equal to the initial velocity squared plus 2ax. Now take note, we are only looking on the movement on the x-axis. Kasi kapag nag-y-axis, magbabago lang tayo ng symbols. Okay, ibig sabihin yan x sub f minus x sub o, meaning y sub f minus y sub o. What else? Yung b sub f is equal to b sub o plus a t. Now, maliban sa ipapamemorize ko yung equation na yan, kasi gagamitin niya rin yan sa lecture, I will be deriving on how we're able to get those working equations related to your calculus first. Okay, unahin natin yung equation natin from this one. If we have v, or the velocity, according to the concept, is the derivative or the change in displacement over change in time. Now, if I will be transposing this one, dx is equal to v dt. Tama ba? So, how will you solve for that given equation? Dx is equal to v dt. Okay, may isa pang equation. Ano pa ba pwede natin po yung equation dyan? You have v is equal to dx over dt. Isa pang equation. Acceleration is equal to dv over dt. Dahil muna natin ito, dv over a. So take note, lahat na gagamitin natin sa kinematics, we are looking on a constant acceleration. Okay, constant acceleration na nag-accelerate siya with a constant acceleration na given sa certain problem. So, kung uunahin natin itong first equation or this equation, dv is equal to a dt. If I will be integrating this one, I should also integrate the left side, or the right side rather. Okay? If the acceleration of the object is constant, what will happen? So, pwede ko siyang labas sa equation. Okay? Now, the limits are, syempre, kung derivative or integral ko ng dv, the limit should be initial velocity, final velocity. Ano yung limit ng time? Initial time, the final time. What's the integral of dv? Anong integral ng dv? First, that is v. Evaluated from its initial velocity to the final velocity. And that will be equal to a times the integral of dt is v evaluated from the initial time to the final time. So take note, when you talk about initial time, that will be your point of reference of a certain time frame. Example, gusto ko at this moment, at 12 o'clock, that is my reference time. Ibig sabihin time equal to 0. Ay, yun yung reference time. For example, at 12 o'clock, yun yung reference time ko. Kapag halimbawa, 4:30 uwian na natin. So, gano'ng katagal yun? 4.5 hours. Ang reference time ko is 12 o'clock. That means that will be my reference point 0. So, automatically, my initial time will be equal to 0. Simplifying the equation, we will now have v sub f minus v sub o is equal, acceleration is constant. That will be d sub f minus d sub o, where d sub o is 0. Simplifying further, we'll now have d sub f minus d sub o is equal to a times time. Sabi ko na lang time to. So, transposing, we have now d sub f is equal to d sub o plus a. Notice that is one of the equations, that is the third equation that we have. Okay? Before pinamemorize yan sa inyo, I don't know if this is first time yung lecture or hindi, kung d sub f is equal to d sub o plus 80, you might have seen this even back from your high school. It came from your calculus. Okay? Now let's go back to the first equation that we have. So, since we have v is equal to dx over dt, so we have dx is equal to v. So ano ulit gagawin natin dyan? You need to take the integral of both sides of the equation. So that will be equal to the integral of dx is equal to the integral of v dt. Now take note, velocity is not constant. Bakit ko sinabi na velocity is not constant? Uy, bakit sinabi natin velocity is not constant? Dahil may tinatawag tayong acceleration. That means, di ba sinabi ko, constant acceleration. When you talk about constant acceleration, the object is currently changing its velocity. Okay? Since constant yung acceleration, nagbabago ang velocity natin with respect to a certain period of time. Okay? That means V is not constant. Integral ng dx, magaling po yan. X sub O, X sub F. Ito naman, alamin natin yung equation ng V. Currently, may nakuha tayong equation ng V, di ba? I can get any value of the velocity with respect to time using this equation. V sub O plus the constant acceleration multiplied to time. So if I will be integrating this one, the integral of dx evaluated from x sub O to the final position is equal to the integral of V sub O plus a t. Okay? Now I will be integrating this with respect to the variable time. Ano bang variable ko? dt. So, integrate ito with respect to time. Now, take note. Ano ba ang value nito? So, integral ng dx. So, that will be x evaluated from x of O to x of f. So, pag in-expand ko to, we have b o dt, tama? Plus a t d t. Evaluated from t sub O to the final time. So it would be 0. Simplifying further, we'll now have x of f minus x of O is equal to what value? Ano ang integral ng v sub O dt? V sub O is constant kasi initial velocity binibigay lagi yan sa problem. That means, ano yung kuha mo dito? VO v. Mamaya i-evaluate natin yan. Plus, acceleration is constant. So that will be equal to a t squared over 2. Again, evaluated from t sub O to the final time. So t0. So walang mababago sa equation ko. This will be x of f minus x of O is equal to v o v plus 1/2 a. And that is your equation number 1. None. Okay, at least nalalaman nyo sa nanggaling yung mga equations na ginagamit. Pwede bigla na lang yung sumulpot, and then ipapagamit ko na equation sa laboratory para makuha yung values. Okay, came from your calculus first. Now, if I will be getting the last equation ko, which will be the second equation, how will I get that value? Sabihin natin, sir, hindi ako marunong mag-integrate. This help natin using your basic algebra. Okay, I have equations. If I will be having this one, v sub f is equal to v sub O plus a t. Notice, the second equation is not a function of what variable? Time. So, ibig sabihin, kung gusto ko eliminate yung time, express ko to as a function of time para mag-cancel out. So, time is equal to v sub f minus v sub O over a. Tama ba? Pwede kong gawin dyan, or on the other hand, kailangan ko express ang acceleration ko with respect to time. So, we can v sub f. Time is equal to v sub f minus v sub O over acceleration. Substitute natin dito. X sub f minus x sub O plus VO time or equals v sub O times v sub f minus v sub O over a plus 1/2 times the acceleration multiplied by v sub f minus v sub O over acceleration squared. Basic algebra, you find the value of time substitution. The first equation, you'll now have this one, x sub f minus x sub O is equal to expand v sub O, v sub f minus v sub O squared over acceleration plus 1/2 times acceleration over, ano sa baba? A squared times you will be expanding this. Tama ba? Paano i-expand yung b sub f minus b sub o squared? Mathematics na baka sumarunong dapat yung mag-expand ng binomial. That will be equal to b sub f squared minus 2b sub f b sub o plus b sub o squared. Okay? Automatically, pwede kong cancel ito. So both of them as a variable, a on its denominator, I can add them up. If I will be multiplying 2a on both sides of the equation, so 2a times x sub f minus x sub o, what will happen to this one? Wala na yung a, tama ba? Ang matitira ko dyan ay 2 times b sub o, b sub f minus 2 b sub o squared. Correct? Plus, ito, ang matitira na lang dyan. Wala na, di ba? Matitira ko na lang dito ay b sub f squared minus 2 b sub f b sub o plus b sub o squared. Check natin kung magka-cancel out. This one can cancel this one. Ito, additive. Simplify, will now have 2 times a is equal to x sub f minus x sub o is equal to b sub f squared minus ito at saka ito will be negative. Transpose it. I will now be having b sub f squared is equal to b squared plus 2 times a times x sub f minus x sub f. Then here's the equation. Algebra yun. Yung una ginawa natin ang calculus in algebra. Now, we can also find the value of that given equation using your basic calculus. Okay, para naman naisip nyo na may silbi naman pala yung pagpapahirap sa calculus. Una, if I will be, ilan bang derivative or a function of calculus do we have? We have 2. If you will be identifying or if you will be comparing those equations, what is the common variable that we have? Anong common variable that we have on those? Time. So if I could equate them, automatically I will cancel out the variable time. Tama ba? So for example, we have dt is equal to dx over v. The other one is dt is equal to dv over a. I can now equate them. So equating them, we'll now have dx over v is equal to dv over a. Transposing, we'll now have a dx is equal to v dv. Ano sunod mong gagawin dyan? Remove the dv as a function of t with both sides of the equation. I will take the integral of both sides. Acceleration is constant, so this will be a x evaluated from x sub o till x sub o. Ito, kaya ko na bang integrate yan? Kaya na, di ba? Kasi v, as your variable, yung dv ko will be the same variable. So integral of v dv is v squared over 2, evaluated from the initial velocity to the final velocity. Simplify, will now have a times x sub f minus x sub o will now be equal to v f squared over 2 minus the o squared over. Multiplying on both sides, will now have 2 times x sub f minus x sub o is equal to vf squared minus v o. We'll have the bottom. Here. Take note, you don't need to memorize those equations. Una, kailangan mo na malaman siya pa sa lahat ng galing. Para when all else fails, nakalimutan mo kung ano yung equation mo, you can always derive it. Especially yung next topic natin, which will be experiment number 3, which will be projectile motion. If you will notice, guys, sa handout, derive the equation na ginagamit. Next meeting will also be deriving saan nga ba nagagaling yung equation. Para kahit magkalimutan tayo at nag-364 kayo at nag-exit kayo, maalala saan nagagaling yung working equation. At least malaman nyo may function pala yung calculus. Okay? Any questions? Now, if you will be setting up your experiment, una, is this your first time using This one. Okay. Photo gates, hindi. Kailangan niya ba ng help? At set up